Welcome back everyone to our video, and today we are talking about Caleb Williams and the Bears and the incredible situation that Caleb Williams actually finds himself in on the Chicago Bears offense. And so I'm going to format this video pretty similar to how I did the Drake May one, which you guys seem to really like, so thanks for all the support in that video. And yeah, so for this one, we're going to briefly go over Caleb Williams. For those of you that might not be super familiar with him, I would assume if you're watching this, you probably are, but just in case you're not, we'll go over him pretty briefly, just in case. After talking about Rome Odunze, their other draft pick, and I want to focus a lot of this video, though, on their offense as a whole, because that's what really makes the Bears exciting going into next season. So, starting out, though, just for Caleb Williams, he's the first pick in the NFL draft this past season, the 2024 NFL draft. His prospect grade is a 6.74, which is equivalent to a year one starter, which, yeah, pretty much kind of what everyone expected there. Now, when I do this, though, I like to always go down to the player's strengths and weaknesses. And again, I'm going to make sure that I don't probably cut off any of these with my face cam. Now, I like that second one a lot. Better consistency projected with pro targets who separate. We will obviously touch on that more later in this video, but obviously Williams has a lot of very good veteran weapons around him in the NFL. So I definitely agree with that strength. It's going to be very exciting to see what he can do because sometimes in college he kind of forced himself to do too much sometimes for guys that weren't always open, and it kind of just wasn't really necessary. Actually, they highlight in the weaknesses where it says hero ball mentality creates indecisiveness and inconsistent decision making. To be honest, though, I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with like the strength of better consistency projected with pro targets who separate. I think the hero ball mentality came from him feeling like it had to be all on him because the other guys couldn't separate when they're supposed to, which again, you know, I'm not trying to justify that weakness. It is an issue. But I will say I would like to at least see him play NFL football before saying he still has that hero ball mentality, because that really may have just come from the situation he was in. And as we're going to talk about later on, the situation he's in now is much, much better really for any other rookie, maybe ever, definitely in the past 10 years for the NFL, though. One weakness I will highlight, though, is passes up easy scramble yardage for more challenging throws. Definitely got to get that under control for the NFL. I mean, a lot of times those, you know, going for the big play when you don't need it, it can result in turnovers. I know Josh Allen does that sometimes. I love Josh Allen, but every once in a while you'll see him kind of, you know, maybe he could roll out for 3 yards and instead he kind of, you know, guns it deep into like triple coverage, and it's just kind of like, you know, why would you do that? But, you know, it makes for some exciting games to watch sometimes. But yeah, definitely an issue. He's going to want to get under control a bit more. But again, I do think these do highlight, obviously, his strengths and weaknesses pretty well. So if you guys want to read the rest of them, if you haven't already, go ahead and pause it. But we're going to move on to Rome Odunze. Now, Rome Odunze was the 9th overall pick in the draft, I believe, who is from Washington. He has the exact same prospect grade as Caleb Williams, and I'm actually very, very excited the Bears got him. Even in my own personal mock drafts I had the Bears getting Rome Odunze, that second top 10 pick they had, because first off, it helps Caleb Williams out by getting him a young receiver, because Keenan Allen isn't, you know, the youngest guy in the world. Still amazing, but, you know, again, you want to always kind of plan for the future. But also for what it can do for Rome Odunze, because as we're going to see, as we go down to his strengths and weaknesses, some things for his weaknesses, we'll actually start with that. So, rushes through early stages of his double moves, attention to detail is missing from his routes. I think Rome Odunze will benefit greatly playing under DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. Both those guys can separate very, very well, and it puts Odunze in a very good spot year one. I've actually kind of touched on this in a previous video where I mentioned this. I'm going to say it again, just, you know, because it's relevant here. But Rome Odunze being this wide receiver 3 role is very nice on him because, for one, he's not having to do too much in year one. Like, not a ton is going to be asked of him. If he exceeds expectations, that's great. But they're not saying go out there and get, you know, 1,000 yards. We have nobody else. He doesn't really have to do that. He can very much develop at a I don't want to say regular rate, but at a comfortable rate for him. He doesn't have to kind of do too much. He can really play into what he's good at and have time to develop the things he's not as good at. Because two guys, Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, are both very good veteran receivers and very good separators and route runners. And if that's what Odunze struggles with, which, you know, there are some other things that, you know, aren't route related, but still, if those are still weaknesses, I could expect it to be, you know, very much cleaned up, or even maybe one of his strengths, you know, 2-3 years down the road, because sometimes for these rookies to be able to sit under veteran players and not have to be thrown into a starting role immediately, I mean, it helps a lot. We've seen with quarterbacks like Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes. You know, it helps a lot. The same can be said about receivers. Now, I will say Rome Odunze is definitely more pro-ready than maybe Jordan Love was at that point in time. But still, I think being able to play with those guys is going to help him out a lot. And he's already a great young receiver, especially just as a prospect anyways. So it's a very good situation for him to be in. And then also, I have highlighted this in my previous videos like this. So if you haven't seen it before, this is his RAS score, which is basically the relative athletic score. It's a composite score, 1 to 10 on a player's. They've taken all kinds of things into account: 40-yard dash, height, weight, vertical, all that kind of stuff, and does give them a score 1 to 10. He got a 9.92, so very, very good. This guy's an incredible athlete for his size, for his weight, for his 40-yard dash time factored in. I mean, this is a very good player, and thanks to the Panthers, the Bears had 2 top 10 picks. You get a young quarterback, you get a receiver, and now they're both going to be in an amazing offense that we're going to talk about right now. And also, just because I didn't say this right now, but I've said it before, I'll just say it again just in case. I never use this as like a make or break for a prospect. I know some of you are just very interested in what the score is because it is pretty cool to see that factored into the prospect grade and stuff. But again, I'm not saying he's automatically going to be an incredible receiver just based off this score. Like, obviously other things go into it, but just to reference this, I think it's pretty cool to highlight. So now let's talk about this offense. So according to ESPN, this is the Bears starting offense right now according to their depth chart. So Caleb Williams at quarterback, DeAndre Swift at running back, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze as receivers, Cole Kmet as tight end number 1, and Gerald Everett as tight end number 2. We also have Kiari Blasingame as fullback, and then Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Coleman Shelton, Nate Davis, and Darnell Wright as the O-line. So let's just start with Caleb Williams though and his weapons. So basically, as you guys have you guys already know this coming to this video, but he has Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, and DJ Moore as his wide receivers. Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions and say this is like the best position a rookie quarterback's ever been in, because obviously Patrick Mahomes was in a pretty good situation as well, and obviously he benefited from sitting for a year and developing. But Caleb Williams right now, I mean, I struggle to actually find a hole on this offense as of right now. And again, I think Caleb Williams is incredible. I think he's going to fit in very well into this offense. And just like I said for Rome Odunze, where not much is going to be asked of Rome Odunze, the same goes for Caleb Williams, because if you go across the NFL right now and look at all these starting quarterbacks, I think there are very few that would perform below average in this lineup. And I'm not trying to say that's going to make Caleb Williams have to, not be that good and all this kind of stuff. It's going to make his life much easier than, say, in Bryce Young coming in last year in that horrible offense with the horrible coaching. But, I mean, the position Caleb Williams is in right now, he doesn't have to go out there and put up C.J. Stroud numbers in year 1. It's like this, otherworldly rookie quarterback or anything like that. I mean, granted, I will also factor in this division because they're in a very tough division. You got the Bears. You have the Lions twice a year, the Packers twice a year, the Vikings twice a year. But the position that Caleb Williams is in right now in this offense, he doesn't have to do all these things he's uncomfortable doing in year 1 to try and force his team into wins, because he's got veterans around that know what they're doing, and it's going to help him out a lot at quarterback. So just for reference here, so last year with Bryce Young, he comes into the league. Now, regardless of how you feel about him aside, okay, he comes in as a rookie quarterback. He is pretty undersized, and the weapons just aren't really there. You have Adam Thielen as a veteran, but other than that, it's like Jonathan Mingo, DJ Chark, Terrace Marshall Jr. It's not guys with a lot of experience or really even that great. So whenever Bryce Young's in some very tough situations, he just kind of had to throw it to the guy that was double covered as the best possible answer, because, no one was going to open that offense. Now for the Bears, not only are guys going to be able to be getting open, but players like DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, even DeAndre Swift, they've been in those situations before. Like, they know what to expect. So it's going to be a lot easier for a rookie quarterback to adapt to that when the rest of the team already can kind of help him out. A lot of it does hinge on Caleb Williams. Personally, I'm a very big fan of the prospect. I think he's a great player. I think he's going to fit in very well in Chicago. So I'm really excited to see how this turns out. But that's why I like this so much, because like I said for the Panthers, Bryce Young, very young. You have Jonathan Mingo, very young. Terrace Marshall Jr. is also very young. A lot of those guys, when they're all in a new situation, it's very hard to learn at the same rate together, because everyone's also in the I don't know what to do when we're down 21 in the second half of a game and we have to try and win 4 straight to make a respectable season or make a playoff push or something. But then you have guys like Keenan Allen. I mean, Keenan Allen is a proven veteran. DJ Moore is a proven veteran. I would even argue DeAndre Swift has a lot of experience under his belt, and it gives guys like Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze people to lean on in those situations and learn from both off the field how to deal with that kind of stuff, and then also on the field. So I think it goes above and beyond just the on the field help these guys are going to give, but also just the mentality at certain points of the season when things are going to get rough. Because look, I'm not going to say the Bears are going to have this like 12-3 season or whatever, but I think they're definitely a playoff team. And in the NFC, especially the NFC North, it's getting pretty close. A lot of teams are kind of on the rise now. Packers are heating up. Lions are obviously heating up. Bears are now starting to heat up. Vikings, it kind of hinged on JJ McCarthy a little bit, but I would argue that they're still in the mix to make the wild card in there. So it's going to get really tough down the stretch and have to win some very big games. And it's going to be very interesting to see the approach Caleb Williams takes at that point in the season, when it's going to depend a lot on him. But luckily, he has veterans around that are great players, and I think it's going to help him a lot off the field and on the field. But as with anything, I'm sure you guys also have different opinions on this. So if you disagree, let me know down below why you don't think Caleb Williams and the Bears might be, incredible in year one. Personally, as I've said, I love the situation that Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze find themselves in. Even just in year one, I'm not going to say it's, Super Bowl or anything in year one, but depending on how they develop, I mean, this could be a contender team very quickly in the next few years. So, thanks for watching. I do really appreciate it. I kind of did this out of order because my last video was Drake May, and then after I posted that, I was like, wow, why didn't I just do Caleb Williams and then Jayden Daniels and then Drake May? So that was kind of an oversight, I guess. Next will be Jayden Daniels, though, for this type of video. If you guys enjoyed it, though, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel for more videos like this. We do videos like this, pretty brief, kind of, players, team, just stuff like this. But also, I rank teams, I rank players. I do way more in-depth predictions closer to the season, where we'll do a full, 2024 team prediction thing, player prediction thing, all that kind of stuff. I also do Madden videos where we do like a No Money Spent series, which is pretty much over at this point. Gameplays, pack openings, all that kind of stuff. And then also the college football game coming out in July. I'll be doing videos on that as well. So always football content on the channel one way or another. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I do really appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.